Hi, folks. Before we get started, let me make a quick announcement. It may not look like it, but this is the continuation of understanding Trump's America First agenda. What happened, which happens often with me, is God kind of tapped on my door the other night and said, things are happening so fast. What I need you to do is I need you to come in and make a major revision on that presentation. And I need you to add a bunch of stuff because we don't have time for you to address a financial reset as one show, global issues as another show, et cetera, et cetera. We need to basically give people a very quick overview of what's coming because things are happening very fast. So this is the continuation of last week's show, but the header slide is going to look different. So let's get into this. Go to the first slide and we'll get started. The coming global crisis, facing it without fear. So we're going to have a financial crisis, the likes of which we've never seen. We're going to have probably terrorist attacks. They're trying to create World War III, but I don't think that's going to happen. We're going to have ecological crisis. We are having them right now, and I'm going to basically clarify for you what they're doing to us. And then I'm going to talk about something that you just don't hear about. They talk about the new Green Deal. I'm going to tell you why it's a sham, and I'm going to tell you why the greatest problem facing the world is, look at that picture in the middle. Look at that drop, that teardrop coming out of that eye. It's water. You can't survive without water. And so I'm going to talk about what they're doing to basically control us and cause a total global famine by allowing us to have a water crisis. Let's go to the next slide and we'll start to break this down. So this is from previous. We've already covered sovereign currency, sovereign borders, honest elections, and resource independence. So let me recap that real quick. So basically, you cannot have a nation if you don't have sovereign currency, if you don't have sovereign borders, if you don't have honest elections. And then to run your economy, you have to have resource independence. Look what happened just a few weeks ago when China tried to pull a slick one and said to the world, if you don't align behind us, then and pull away from America, we're going to cut you off from all of the rare earths. And basically that would have just completely broken the logistics exchange. So now what we're going to be doing is looking at some new material. And after we get through that, then we're going to pick this back up again with energy independence, manufacturing prowess, equitable trade agreements, global financial parity, and shared values and goals. So let's get into the next slide and let's do a deep dive. All right, so this is, like I said, new material. Basically, what we're seeing here is we have had war in the form of a Trojan horse with some 20 million illegal immigrants that have come in, and thousands of them, I think, potentially are terrorists. And I believe as we get closer and closer to the reset, to basically bringing down the financial elite financially and bringing in the new economic system that ushers in peace and prosperity, the global financial elite are getting desperate and they're going to trigger those terrorist cells. And I want to take a little bit of time to basically explain what I think is going to happen. There were tunnels that were found under the border wall, and in them were documents, were diagrams, and it looks like what they're trying to do is they're going to try to create chaos in every way they can. But they have strategic targets. They have water reservoirs. They have power stations, etc. So they basically want to bring us down. And then I believe also what they want to do is they want to attack the armories and basically create the ability for us not to be able to do a quick response. But Trump is on top of this, folks. That's why he's put a National Guard out into the sanctuary cities. That's why he's training 500 guard troops in each state for rapid deployment. So yes, it's liable to get dicey, but this is not the Obama administration or the Biden administration. Trump is going to put it down, and he's going to put it down quickly. I believe he knows where most of these cells are. So at any rate, I just want you to know to be prepared that we might have what I call insurrection within the streets of America. That basically they understand that America is too strong to take down from a kinetic attack on the outside. But if they could disable us from the inside, then maybe they might have a chance. So I don't know what they're going to do, but I just want to warn you that that's a possibility. Let's go on down to the next slide, and we're going to get into some encouragement. This is what happens. A global financial collapse is underway. but it's global. So there are people out there saying America is going to fall, and there's a 7-step process that every nation goes through, and America's already on stage 5. So it's fait accompli. No, it's not, because this collapse is not going to follow the pattern of others. We're not looking at one great nation taking over another great nation. We're looking at every great nation in the world having a catastrophic financial collapse all at the same time, causing absolute chaos. The governments of the world are going to fall. Governments, plural, but America is going to rise like the phoenix, and we are going to fulfill our destiny. As Trump said, America will be great. America will be greater than ever. America will be respected. The world doesn't want to live under communism. We are the choice. We are the nation that, given any choice whatsoever, the rest of the citizenry of the world wants to be in alignment with the United States of America, not with Russia, not with China, not with Iran, not with any other superpower. Now, this next slide is going to get a little dicey, but I got to tell you what's coming. Let's go to the next slide. Here's what's happening. We have had stock market collapses before. We've had real estate collapses. We've had bond collapses. We've never had a collapse where all 3 cylinders of the engine of the economy collapsed at the same time. The stock market is poised for a catastrophic collapse. Real estate there's going to be a huge, unbelievable real estate collapse in the commercial industry, because the vacancy rates are so high, it's unbelievable. Because of what? Because people are working out of their homes and they're not going back to the offices. And then the retail real estate market is likewise going to collapse, because the prices are so high that people can't afford them, and they're doing some shenanigans where they're building new homes, but they're building them for rent only, locking people out of the real estate market. That market's going to collapse, and because the dollar is devaluing, that's why prices are going up so much. That's going to affect the bond market. So basically, all 3 engines are going to collapse, but it's got to happen to usher in the reset, where we take the financial control away from the global financial elite and we set up a new economic system that basically is going to see America rise to the forefront, lead the rest of the world into an unparalleled period of peace and prosperity. The collapse will be devastating. It'll be deep. It'll be fast, but the rebound will be quick, because we're going to be running the quantum financial system in the background. And basically, there are provisions made to protect your assets. We're running in tandem. However, I have to say, I'm not a financial advisor. I think that the one area, in my opinion, that is at most risk is the stock market. I think what you have in the banks is probably going to be okay. If you have gold and silver in your own possession, that's going to be okay. But I think the stock market is going to take a catastrophic collapse. And here's why. Because we have corporations all over the country, all over the world, that are aligned against us. They are aligned with the global financial elite. So as we bring down the global financial elite, we have to bring down their partners. We have to bring down the banks. We have to bring down the stock market, and we have to expose the election fraud with the government, and we have to purge our drain, as Trump would say, all the politicians, not just in Washington, but at the state level and focal and local level, so we can have a new system, so we can go back and reinstate what America was founded as, a republic. Let's go to the next slide. And I want you to understand, Trump is a master chess player. He's got this figured out. He's going to do everything he can to make this as minimally painful for the people as he can. So here's what he's going to do. He's going to revalue gold. Gold is on the books at $42. He's going to revalue it at $4,000 or above. That's going to bring us in about $1 trillion. And then he's going to sell mineral rights to our federal lands, which he's estimated might bring us in $150 million. Now, there's more to this, but just take those 2 things alone. That's designed to basically pay down or pay off our debt. We're currently paying over $1 trillion a year on interest on our national debt. That's the largest single line item. It's going to go away. It may not go away instantaneously, but he's going to make it go away. At the same time, he's going to build the economy and restore America's GDP and make us once again the economic leader of the world. What's he going to do? He's going to establish the U.S. as a as a global leader in crypto. That's very, very important. He's going to devalue the dollar to make the U.S. goods more price competitive. That's why he's putting all the pressure on the Fed. I think if the Fed has not actually fallen, and you just haven't been told it's going to fall, but he has to lower the interest rates, probably because we've got a $38 trillion national debt, and a third of that is due for refinancing this year at high rates. So he has to get the interest rates down, and that's something that just absolutely has to happen. And he's staging us to have a very broad-based economy, not based on fiat currency, but it can't singularly be based on gold. So it's a broad-based commodity-backed system: gold, silver, platinum, copper, uranium, wheat, oil. Anything, any commodity in the world can be used to back the new system. And what does that do? And like in a fiat system where we're vulnerable to having it manipulated, each of those commodities have values in and of themselves. So we get a stable economy. And what we're going to have, for those of you who don't know what this is, I invite you to do some research. But we had the Bretton Woods Accords after World War II, which made America the reserve currency of the world. We're not going to come out of this as the sole reserve currency of the world, but we are going to come out of it still as the principal, most important reserve currency of the world. We're still going to have our clout, and just not total clout. And then the transition from the fiat dollar to commodity-backed economy. That's what's going to come. That's going to stabilize us after we have that very harsh and abrupt collapse. So Donald Trump has got it figured out, and here's what he's doing. I'll make a little bit of an additional statement or two before we go on. What he's done is he's made the choice that our currency, our commodity, not commodity, our economy is going to be based on gold and silver and wheat and oil, but we're also going to be the crypto capital of the world. So once we get our currency to where it's stable, people are going to want to do business with the United States of America as opposed to Mexico, as opposed to China, as opposed to Russia. We're going to be the nation they want to be doing business with because of who we are, because of our power. But also, there's another thing he's doing for a myriad of reasons. People want to deal in cryptocurrencies. The third world countries do not have a lot of banks. So he's also designed into it for us to be the crypto capital of the world. And that's going to be very important in making us as strong as we need to be. Let's go down to the next slide. So this is more of what he's doing. Basically, this is probably going to shock a lot of people. A lot of people think America doesn't have much gold. China has more than us. Russia has more than us. No, this is from the IMF. And guess what? America has more gold than any other nation by far. And if you look up at the top right, here's what Trump is orchestrating. This is from Scott Bissett. The BRICS nations are monetizing their supply chain. The U.S. is monetizing its payment chains. Now, what does that mean? They're monetizing their supply chain because we've had most of our manufacturing gutted. So they're the ones who are making the goods that they're shipping around the world. That's why they're monetizing their supply chain. While America is rebuilding its manufacturing, we are monetizing what? We are monetizing our payment change. And look over to the next side of this, and you'll see what he's doing. Trump is effectively charging import companies, the goods coming in, a toll fee. It's 10% for using our payment system. That is why Trump is setting the U.S. up as the crypto capital of the world. So everything he's been doing with all of these countries, renegotiating trade agreements, basically forcing the tariffs, there's a 10% slush amount in there in order to achieve what you're seeing here. America is going to have a strong revenue stream. And on top of that, then we are going to come back in and rebuild our manufacturing. The future for America looks bright. Let's go to the next slide. And this is what we're going to look like. Freedom, no more fiat dollar, no more currency that's based on nothing. Every dollar printed creates a bond, which creates a gold obligation, a debt obligation. We're going to have a commodity-backed system. America is going to emerge out of this stronger than it's ever been, and it's all going to be run on XRP and XLM as the rails based by commodity-backed systems, and basically with America being the crypto capital of the world, meaning just for nothing more than convenience. If the U.S. dollar is strong, the world will prefer to U.S. dollar. That is going to make what BRICS is doing backfire on them. They don't have the leverage that people think they have. Let's go on down to the next slide. And we've covered this before, but with the fear that I think people are having, I want to basically go over this very quickly. This has been trying to be burst since the assassination of Kennedy. I'm talking about Nasara. And what is it going to give us? It's going to get rid of the Fed. It's going to get rid of the IRS. That means look at all the debt that you don't have to pay. That's 35% of your income that's now in your pocket. And the gold commodity-backed currency, illegal debt will be forgiven. Sales tax, that is what America's entire economy was based on originally, and that's what we're going back to, a simple sales tax on non-essential items only. And then we are going to reinstate our Constitution. Our current Constitution is over 2,700 pages long, and it's full of laws that were written to enslave the American people, not to serve them. And we're going to have increased benefits for our seniors. I'm one of those. And we're going to require a stand down of all military aggression. So in order to have a steady state economy, you have to end wars. And that's why Trump has already put 6 wars to sleep. And if the one in the Middle East holds, that'll be 7. And then he's working on Ukraine and Russia. So basically, he is preparing the groundwork that will allow us to finally, after all these years, to have a new economic system, one that's fair and equitable, and one that allows the people to have a decent standard of living. Let's go on to the next slide, and we're going to see what it looks like once we go into that. The dollar is gone. The dollar always reverts back to its real value as nothing. But when we have a commodity-backed system, not a fiat system, the governments of the world, the puppet masters of the world are no longer able to create inflation, deflation, wage suppression, stock market manipulation, boom bust cycles, national and consumer debt, poverty and division, and global conflicts, period. And the whole system is going to be run on quantum financial systems on the blockchain with privacy and with security. And basically, this is the new system. And it has been coming for a long, long time, but it's going to give the people of the world the ability to have a stable economy. We're not going to have constant devaluation of our currencies. We're going to have a whole lot more money to spend. Let's go on down to the next slide. And this is a quote that I think I'm gonna read it for you. But it basically is saying that we're going to be a whole lot better off than we are. So this is coming from Catherine Austin Fitts, a former U.S. cabinet member to President George H.W. Bush. And here's what she said, and this is based on some pretty good understanding of what's coming. She says, if you look at the total wealth that we can create on planet Earth, if we create a financial system which supports life and is aligned with life, what I will tell you is that our present financial wealth is less than 1% of what is possible. We live in a system where we are inflicted with perpetual hoarding. All the necessities of life are made so expensive that we basically can't control them. So the global financial elite are controlling the money. And by controlling the money, they're controlling our access to housing, to food, to water, to shelter, to healthcare, to all the necessities of life. All of that is going to change. We're not going to have hoarding anymore. Basically, America is going to lead the world technologically along with China. And what's going to happen is we're not going to hoard. We're going to share technology, and all of mankind is going to be uplifted. So let's go on down to the next slide. And that ends this portion of the presentation. There's 3 portions to this. So at this point, we're going to air this tomorrow or maybe later today. I encourage you to buy this book because it's go time now, folks. As this comes down, if you don't want to be afraid, if you want to be informed, if you want to be able to know what to do, you need to know what's in this book because it tells you everything you want to know. It's based on history. It's based on the Bible. It's based on current events. And it tells you what made America great, how we've lost it. And it tells you to a substantial degree how we're getting it back right now. All right. We'll see you in part 2. Please join us.